watch a video first that will set up this conversation.
A city is a complex system. Water, energy, telecommunications, transportation. Elements that can no longer operate in complete isolation must now work together to be sustainable, to be more resilient, and to deliver a high quality of life. But evolving into a smart city is not a simple undertaking. Through Black & Veatch's smart integrated infrastructure business, cities and utilities can combine intelligent infrastructure with big data analytics.
A key component of smart integrated infrastructure lies in our Asset 360 platform, which is really focused on the idea of how do we leverage and adapt operation of key critical assets to this more complex and this more distributed environment.
Asset 360 is the analytics backbone of smart infrastructure. It allows utilities to monitor and diagnose potential problems before a full failure or outage occurs. It also allows for adaptive planning, giving utilities key insights for long-term predictability.
Think about a city that has good planning and good operation around all of the resources that it uses, from all the way from energy, water, transportation, telecommunications, all of those things working in concert to make the city more livable, more safe, and that's really the foundation of a smart city platform.
The ability to use analytics in building smart cities will change the way utilities explore and understand this converging landscape.
So Clint, how does a pitch like that get taken up by a client? Who do you convince with that message?
Well, the broad message is the world. That's hard to digest. Smaller steps, where I spend a lot of my time and where Amy mentioned earlier that Phillips is spending some time, is with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, National League of Cities, kind of on the ground. The same people that are removing your snow are the same people that I need to convince that this is not an additional item, this is a necessary item. So quit rebuilding your great-grandparents' infrastructure for a small amount of money. Let's put data analytics to work for you so that we can solve some of these problems before they happen.
How did you shift as an engineering firm into this domain, and how tough was it to make the transition?
You know, I really value our smart integrated infrastructure team at Black & Veatch, because I think a lot of our businesses and utilities are siloed. And so the smart integrated infrastructure team within Black & Veatch was a way for the water people to talk to the electric people, to talk to the telecommunications people about how can we combine these assets and develop a platform that's meaningful to someone like a city, instead of uniquely looking at each utility sector. So I think it's fantastic for me, because just like any city, Bob, when you have to go from one department to the next department to the next department, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing, this smart integrated infrastructure system has really created a mechanism for all of us to collaborate. I think that helps our clients.
And aside from the fact that Black & Veatch is the home team in Kansas City, and you got some home team bias there in Kansas City with the Royals doing so well.
We've got a little bit of that. Yeah.
A little bit of that, yeah. All right, go Royals. And one of the things that's interesting about the Royals, not to get too bogged down on baseball, is they want to play for that team. They could get a lot of money going elsewhere. What is it about Kansas City that they have their act together? Why is that?
I think there's a couple of factors in play. The first of which is we're not a huge city, so we are more able to be agile. When you look at a city with the infrastructure size of New York here, we don't have this much stuff that we have to change. So we are able to, when we put in a 2.5-mile streetcar line, integrate in the ability to lay the fiber that goes with that, to lay the Cisco small cells so we can put in all of our Wi-Fi capacity, that we can link in Sprint, which is another hometown team, to provide that Wi-Fi and to enter into a public-private partnership with us. And quite frankly, to take advantage of the unique leadership team that we have between Mayor James, who is absolutely visionary and is absolutely committed to the idea of using data to figure out how to make the city more responsive to its citizens, and a guy like Troy Schulte, who's our city manager, who's able to actually figure out that mechanistic piece and sort of combine what we were talking about in that last panel with how do we optimize both views of progress.
So now you're scaring me, Bob, because you make it sound as though cities aren't scalable, that above the scale of Kansas City, that you're going to have difficulty doing these kinds of things, and that pretty much cuts out, all of the cities in China, most of the cities in India, and every city in Japan.
I disagree with you only to the extent that you need to do it once. You need someone to show that it can be done, and Kansas City is going to be that place. For us to do it in Kansas City, I had to start with one 2.5-mile strip, and it's a beautiful 2.5-mile strip. And in fact, when all the power is turned on here in about 2.5 weeks, we will surpass in terms of number of people under Wi-Fi, amount of data being collected and analyzed, Barcelona, and they're about 1.5 miles of smart space. I'm going to be at 2 3/4, and then I'm going to expand that within 3 years to the rest of the city. In a similar fashion, we're going to validate a lot of things. We're going to screw a lot of things up. But once we figure out how to do it, then certainly that blueprint will be set. And then a city like New York can say, all right, now we know what can be purchased at this level, because that's a bigger investment on a New York scale than us.
Well, I have to say, after listening to Chambers talk about Barcelona, kicking Barcelona's ass is very impressive.
We're going to be the smartest city on planet Earth within 3 years.
All right, if that's the metric, whoa.